Can you brew a decent New England IPA with British hops? And can British hops compete with American? The British are coming. Best get ready.
I think if I was served that in the Verdant tap room, I wouldn't question it.
I'll take that.
Really, really good. I think that's definitely high praise.
Hello there. When you think about New England IPAs, hazy pales, you always think of American hops, don't you? In fact, you basically never see a British hop. Not that I'm aware of.
Until now.
Well, until now. But you don't, do you?
No.
But if you keep your ear to the ground, obviously Brew Bros are cutting edge. You may have heard recently, particularly on the craft beer channel from Johnny
Garrett, yeah.
But yeah, you might have heard on the craft beer channel that one of his predictions for 2004 is that juicy British hops are going to start coming to the fore. But what are really the options when it comes to juicy British hops? And that is what we're looking at with this beer. I couldn't really talk about brewing a British-inspired NEIPA without talking about the UK NEIPA Kings Verdant, who've got to be amongst the top 3 hazy pale brewers in the UK. And one of the various keys to a nice soft mouthfeel is chloride. And what he recommends is to add calcium chloride to the mash water and then add sodium chloride, i.e. salt, during the boil. And he adds a note to that and says that calcium shouldn't exceed 100 parts per million.
Nothing to do with the hops, but I love the body of it. I think the body's spot on. I think it's really nice for a NEIPA.
Now, a lot of this recipe has its foundations in some of Verdant's beers in terms of the dry hop, grams per litre, the Whirlpool, the IBU. A lot of that has taken inspiration from what they're doing down at Verdant.
So what's the grain bill on this then?
So it was mainly extra pale Maris Otter, I wanted to get as much British influence as possible, so I went with Maris Otter.
Yep.
Good British pale grain. And then I had 20% flaked oats, 14% wheat.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so I mean, I'm happy. It's nice and opaque, isn't it? It's definitely NEIPA territory. Using the Grainfather S40. It's been a while, about 8 or 9 months, I think. That's what we're using. A standard 30-litre kettle for our Sparge water, but I'm not going to be messing around with the jug approach on this one. I've got a pump and hose connected to it, and also this witty device that I think Ed created for his very first all-grain mash tun. That's going to sit on top of the grain bed nicely. The only other interesting thing to say about equipment on this particular brew is if you look to my right, I'm using the Kegland Fermenter King Junior, which is a 20-litre pressure fermenter. I think it's one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest, pressure fermenter on the market. And I only paid 35 bones for it, so that's pretty good from our friends at Brew to Bottle. And the reason I'm using that fermenter is I vowed, after a couple of failed brews in a row due to oxidization, Gandy, I would never not use a closed system when brewing a NEIPA. So that's what I'm doing here. I don't want Gandy getting hold of my NEIPA and ruining it again. So with a closed transfer, there's no siphon or any of that funny business or exposing the wort to air and oxygen. It's just done entirely via pressure through a pipe. Bloody tops. Check the old mash pH, gunning for 5.2. Brewfather said that we needed to add about 9 or 10 mil of lactic acid, so let's see where we are. It's a Milwaukee pH meter. They're pretty cha-ching, but they're the only things that seem to work. Yeah, we're just a fraction over 5.2, so we're pretty much bang on, so no lactic acid required. Recirc off. Turn that temp straight up to 102. This is where the step comes in very handy, because this thing weighs a lot. I mean, oh my God. Holy cow! Luckily I'm pretty hench, as you can see. Woo! Hopefully this will work. Tell you what. Not enough hands. There we go. This thing was featured on our first, I think Ed did use it on his original brew system, which was built into a keg. If you go back and look at our very first milk stout video, no idea why you would want to look at that video, unless you're the legend that is Ben Walker. But anyway, yeah, you can see this in action in that video, crafted by the fair hands of Ed Imitet Messenger himself. But Opus, Harlequin and Olicana are without doubt the juiciest and most tropical sort of New World American style British hops that you could find. I mean, Harlequin is 9.4%, which as far as I'm concerned, that's probably the highest alpha content I've seen of a British hop. Opus, we've seen a few times. We saw it at Big Brew Co. May they rest in peace. Really miss those guys. But anyway, we saw it there in a beer, which I thought was fantastic. But we just thought it'd be interesting to grab some of the hops as well and just rub them and see how they compare. We've got Opus and we've got Harlequin. Harlequin is, I mean, they're all, Opus is actually Ed's hop selection. He selected these a while back.
It was a while ago, wasn't it, for our Pliny the Elder? It was. So should we just, because when you get them out of cold storage here, like Simcoe, we've got Simcoe here for comparison, but Simcoe is so much more aromatic that you kind of think, well, surely they're just not going to compete. I've never rubbed hops, have you? No. I mean, I've seen people like, I reckon we can.
You reckon we can do it?
I reckon yeah.
All right.
We're going with Opus first.
Yeah, let's go with Opus. I mean, with Opus, we should be getting some orange and some floral notes. I did see a good term the other day, actually. It was on Brew a Bit Rickshaw's channel, shout out to him. He said a fruit bowl aroma. That's a very good point, because often just hops in general. I thought it was a very good point, because I mean, it's more sort of herbal.
Oh, yeah,
isn't it?
It is. Yeah,
it is fruity. It's a little bit of zest, a little bit of sort of pithy orange zest, I reckon. They don't give much away. It is more sort of on the sort of, definitely the herby, grassier end, more earthy.
Yeah.
And kind of, I want to use like savoury, almost like a sort of savoury quality. And that is, I mean, if you speak to Verdant about how they brew their beers, savoury is one of the qualities that they look to extract out of, with certain brews.
Oily as well on your fingers.
Yeah. It's the first time I've ever done that, actually. But okay, so let's go from Opus into Opus. Let's go from Opus to Simcoe and see how that compares.
Nowhere near as much. Yeah, plenty.
Yeah, I mean, you can smell it as soon as it comes out the bag.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And it's massive. It's massive.
It's a massive difference. And if you and you can't help but think, well, surely, like just based on the smell, and even when they're frozen, like at -20. You're thinking that surely can't make anywhere near as aromatic as a beer as some of these American hops.
Right, Harlequin.
Let's try Harlequin.
Yeah,
we may as well as we're here. Up to you. Oh, that is really that's like a sort of almost like a cannabisy kind of. I mean, I know what that smells like, but
way more savoury. Kind of.
It's almost like chopped parsley or something.
It's not what you want to hear. I was kind of thinking cheesy, which is a sign of a bad gone off out. But I know these are all very, very fresh.
It's like chopped parsley or like oregano or something.
Yeah, you're right. There's no real kind of zing to them, is there?
No.
The British ones, unfortunately.
All three hops part of the Charles Faram Hop Development Program. And for anyone watching in the US, Charles Faram is kind of like our equivalent in the UK of your Yakima Chief. Okay, that's the boil complete. We're going to put our hops in straight away at flame out. Then we're going to take our temp down to 75, which is what we're going to whirlpool at for half an hour. I reckon, hoping that it'll take about 20 minutes. 20 minutes to get to our whirlpool temp of 75 degrees. Basically under 89 point something or other. The threshold at which the hops aren't going to give out any more bitterness. And I've got my little friend to assist. So we can actually whirlpool properly. There we go. Now the immersion chiller is in there, the coil, but we haven't got water running through that yet. It's literally just in there to sanitize. So what I'll do, I'll probably use the drill for a couple of minutes. Just get these whirlpooling and nicely mixing. And then I'll just leave it to hop stand for half an hour once we're at 75 degrees C. This beer was just Whirlpool, no bittering hops at all, and a relatively hefty dry hop. The Whirlpool Hop Edition should give us an IBU between 9 and 10, so not super bitter, but sort of even sharks need water territory. These are so light, it's great. And they've got handles. £35, people, £35. Now pumping sanitizer under pressure from this bottle. Make sure that the dip tube is sanitized. That's good. And it should come as no surprise that I am pitching the Verdant IPA yeast after I was bigging them up earlier. The Verdant IPA did that ferments pretty violently. Have you ever used that one?
Never used it. No, I don't really use a lot of dry yeast. Do I?
Yeah, so you get a good big chunky krausen on it.
Yeah.
And it takes off like a rocket as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's 12 gram a litre dry hop.
Yeah.
And it was
relatively. I mean, that's not massive considering.
No, it's not.
The fact that you're using British hops, generally lower alpha acids.
I think it's a bloody good beer.
It's really good. Really, really good. That's lovely. What are you getting? I'm getting lemongrass.
Yeah.
That is the one that stands out to me, and it's orangey as well. I think we both agreed on that.
To be honest, I get most of it. I get a little bit of mango, I get a little bit of peach and passion fruit as well, all the kind of like the tropical range, but it is definitely more understated than had this been like an American hopped.
Yeah.
Or a New Zealand hopped or Australian hopped beer.
What would you do then if you were going to brew it again?
I'd probably double the dry hop. I mean, like I said, it was 12 grams a litre. This is 5.7%, and if you listen to any of Cloudwater's, I mean, Cloudwater kind of considered one of the sort of pioneers of double IPAs.
I saw that video.
Yeah.
24?
Yeah, massive. 25. They say they don't really. I think it was 24 or 25 grams per litre dry hop, but he calls it a hop charge.
I think it's brilliant. You've demonstrated that they're up there, aren't they? Depending on how you use them. If you use them correctly, I mean, that's really good beer.
It's a good point that not everyone likes tropical fruit aromas. They just don't. You know, people they don't want beers to smell of grapefruit or fleshy blood orange or whatever, do they? They just don't.
Yeah.
Be interested to see what comes out over the next year or two if this is the sort of beginning of a new trend. To see what the likes of Charles Faram come out with.
What they can come up with.
Yeah, so that was that, and I'm really happy with the body, really happy with the mouthfeel. I wouldn't change anything about that whatsoever.
It's nice to have one of your beers that isn't oxidised. It's re-inspired me to start using British hops again. Yeah.
There you go. Well, I mean, if we can inspire anyone to brew with these British hops and do a New England IPA, then I'm more than happy with that. So anyway, we think that the British are coming. We think that over the next year or two, if they keep going on these lines with the Charles Faram hop program, etc., we could be seeing some hops that are genuinely going to be competing soon. This is a hell of a big step on that journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you think?
Yeah. Do you want me to raise mine as well?
Yeah. Here's the hop growers. So anyway, recipe in the description. Hope you found this interesting. If you haven't liked and subscribed, you are thoroughly naughty. Anyway, thanks for watching, and best of British, and cheerio. That'll do. There's nothing there.
Chin chin. Is that British or?
I think it is.
Chin chin.
Yeah.